Good afternoon. My name is Tij Kim from Midas, Singapore. Before getting started, if anyone can see the screen properly, please raise your hands using GoToWebinar function. Okay. If you have any question during the webinar, you can just write down the question in the question box. Then we will take care of the question. For the purpose of this webinar is to share about the quick and simple design module in one page as per Eurocode using Midas Design Plus. This webinar will help you to understand the whole scope of Midas Design Plus and capabilities. So basically in Design Plus, we can actually link with Midas Gen 3D software. And even we can actually do the simple design unit. We can do the member design as it is with Midas Design Plus itself. So we can do design and check EC2 and EC3 and even American code. And also we have the report generation as MS Word format or PDF file format and internal report. And even we can do the Excel format design and drawing generation. So these all features are automated. So we will see today for these functions. Basically in Eurocode modules at this moment, we have RC, beam and column modules in beta version. And also we have general columns and isolated footing as mat and pie cap, and we have we have strip footing and combined wall. And still part we have beam to beam bolt connection and beam to column bolt connection and column bearing splice connection and base plate. So let's see in the program. So this is Midas Design Plus, and I will show you the beam modules first. Okay, so basically what we are doing for this beam design or RC simple column design, we usually open the 3D software, like we can do the model inside this 3D software, and then we do the design for whole structures. But if we do that way, we actually cannot do only one beam or only one column simple design. In that case, we need to give the forces, boundary conditions, sections, everything we need to input one by one in 3D software. So it's quite tedious. But in this program, Midas Design Plus, we can actually input the small data here in the input box. So here in these sections, you can input the concrete strength and main bar stroke and the section width, height, and then cover. And here we can use single rebar type or double rebar type, and then shape, rectangular or T shapes. And if you want to use this scheme bar, so here that shows the what is this scheme bar explanation, and here we can also input the scheme bar here, or we can also give the spacing limit of main rebar, or the rebar arrangement we can also choose the type 1 or 2, 3. So we can actually choose where we want to input this rebar for end or middle together. And here we can also input the moment top moment, bottom moment, and shear force at the I end and then J end and middle point. So here we can even give the rebar, top and bottom rebar stroke. So basically you can see every input for this beam design we can find in this one page. And if you want to use different rebar at each level, we can even use this one. So you can input each rebar, layers, and then size. Okay, so in this one page we can input everything, and then here in the serviceability, so you can actually input characteristic, quasi permanent, and then frequent. So here we can input the moment top and bottom as well, and quasi permanent, quasi, and then frequent. And here the factors actually are already defined here. Even you can change. And then we can also check the crack. So here we can choose the exposure class, and then you can give the limitation here. And deflection control, you can choose the deflection support condition here. And you can input the design load if you want to use line load or use the moment option. So we have both options as well. And then span. So every input data you need to design for this beam, we can find in this small box, everything. So we don't need to model this 3D design. So we can click just the check button, and then here we can get all the result here. And the serviceability result we can also get here. And then ratio. So we can input everything here. So we get the result in this output box. And then in the report, we can generate detailed report or summary report and input list report. So if I see this detailed report, I actually pre-generated. So actually the program generate the report as Word format file if I use this button. So this is what we generated from the Design Plus. So here there is the design information and then diagrams, and also show the every calculation, step-by-step calculation process for RC beam design. Even we can find some formula for this design calculation, and then it shows the design is failed or passed as well. So shear capacity and then stress limitation. So it shows every step-by-step calculation process here. So if you want to see some small design process, we can actually find everything in this report. Okay, so this is Word format file. So even we can easily change the format or values here, because we already used to this Microsoft Word. And then program actually generate a PDF file format report as well for this same report. So we can even generate that format. So this is it. So this is very simple and quick design method using this Design Plus. We can do the design RC beam here. And actually I generated several beams here, so different forces, different input data for these beams. So actually if I go to this member list, I can see in the Excel format file. This is the Excel file of my input data. So here there are different forces, rebar, or even you can change this input data here. So if you don't want to change in this member type every time, then you can actually change every input data in here in Excel file. So like, okay, let's say I want to change this one to 500. So you can change directly here. Okay. Or shapes, rectangular, T-shape, we can even change here. So every input data you can change here. And the good thing about using this member list is actually we can use this Midas Design Plus with other software. For example, if we have some other program, let's say we have many 3D software, right? We have many 3D software, or even sometimes you get the only forces for your beam design. Then how we can use those forces with Midas Design Plus? So it's very simple. If I have this beam force data, so if I have this force data here, actually this one I got from some other 3D software, and then here I have the negative moment, positive moment, and then like shear force. So first we need to actually arrange the data same as Midas Design Plus. So if you see here, I have the force in top, bottom, and VED. So we have the three top moment. So this is IN, this is JN, and then this is JN, then this is middle. So actually we need to arrange this data first. So I arrange I, middle, and JN forces and moment. So we can actually drag this moment data. So let's say I want to copy let's say I want to copy those 10 data. So this is total 30. So we can just Control C, copy these forces, and then you can paste in here these forces. You can see this has been changed, and even the other moment we can actually copy and paste here, and even the shear force we can copy and then we can paste here, right? So if we want to use the other forces or other software, we can first generate this Excel format, and then we can just copy those forces to this Excel member list type. And if you want to generate your material data, section data in the Excel format first, then here you can just copy and paste here. Then you don't need to go one by one and change everything. You can just copy from Excel and then paste here. Then Design Plus, we can design all these things at once. Okay. So that is this member list option. And I said we have I have 10 different beams. So let's see in the drawing tab how we can generate this drawing. So here we can just choose RC beam. So here in the drawing tab, we can just click this create button. Then program generate our drawings. So now actually my beams are very similar, so it shows the drawing as similar. But anyway, if you have the different arrangement, it shows every drawings in this member drawing tab. It shows this beam, this beam rebar drawings here. So I didn't actually input the scheme bar, so it shows scheme bar as well here if you input, and then it shows the two end and then center drawings. So just one click, we generate all these 10 member drawings. Okay. And actually we have next step, we have this quantity. So this quantity is kind of bill of material function. So let's say we have this beam, and then if I go to this quantity option, if I click create button, so it shows the bill of material of our beams. So quantity per unit length here, so it shows the top and bottom rebar. So even we can generate this one, and then we can export this to Excel file as well. Okay, so this is the Midas Design Plus simple member design for beam. So you can see this member design, and then we actually saw this Excel format using, and then drawing, and we also generate the quantity. So this is a very quick method. We don't need to generate our 3D model, and actually we can directly input our data, and then we can do the design in very quick moment. Okay, so let's say in the column, so I add one column here. So this is the column module. So similarly as beam design, so column we can also do the design in this one page. So here we can choose the material data, and then we can also choose the rectangular or circular type column, and even we have the general column here. Okay, so in this column, this is a typical column, so we have rectangular and circular type. So we can even change the section size, and then and we can also give the effective length factor here. So also we can choose the factor, K factor here, and even you can input your K factor value here if you want. And then design moment, we can choose consider effect of imperfection or second order effects, and then here we have the ABC value factor here, and here we can also choose the rebar, number of rebar layers, and then lows, so main bar size, and then we can also input the distance. So every input data we can change in here. And in the forces, we can input those forces. So we can input forces, and the moment. So we can input everything if you want to input in this column. And serviceability, so we can also check for the serviceability. So you can input every forces here. So I just input those forces. So after that, we can just go to here in the design or check button, we can also do the design or check like as Midas RC beam design. And then it shows the design result here in the this calculation result box. So as you see here in this webinar, the software is very simple. So even I don't need to explain many things in this webinar. If you see the software, you understand what is this software, right? And even the good thing, we can actually see all the data in one page. Like we don't need to we don't need to pass one step, and we don't need to go to other step. We don't need to do that. We can actually input our all data in one page, and then we can see the result. So in this report tab, we can even generate the report like as Midas RC beam design, and then like in this member list, as I show you. So here in the member list, if you have the force data or section data, we can just copy paste to here, copy from the other software or Excel format, and you can paste here. And the drawing tab, similarly, I just delete the previous format drawings, and we can just click create button, and we can generate column section. So basically we can actually save this format as DWG or DXF file format directly. So for these small changes, for example, if you want to change small things, we can even change here, like using this command. If I click L, means I can generate my lines, right? Or you can even delete some unnecessary part, or you can do this, and even you can save as DWG DXF file format, and then you can directly change in the other software, right? So even this drawing generation is very simple. We don't need to do many things. Program actually generate by itself. Okay, so this is the column modules. So actually the other thing is the same. So footing, if I add one footing, so usually we do a lot of design for this footing, isolated footing. So you can change this footing type mat or pile, mat footing or pile cap footing. We can choose the footing, and then we can input the design load here, and then design load for factor load, and then serviceability load, we can input those loading, and then surcharge load, we can input the surcharge load as well. And footing, we can change the depth or cover, and then we can also choose the column section, rectangular or circular column, and then we can even change the column position. So if you want to make this corner column pad footing, we can also do that. And then we can change the rebar size and then spacing here, and then we can add the second layer rebar as well. And then footing size, we can change this footing size for here. And then actually here we have always those two buttons, design and check. So if I click check button, actually program do the check for our current input data, right? But let's say I just change the preference, change section by design, and if I click this design button, then program try to search the suitable arrangement or footing size those things to get OK ratio, like pass ratio. So previously, if I click check, then program just give the result based on my input data. But if I click design, then program try to design for our footing, or I couldn't explain in before, but in beam or column module, program actually try to find the suitable arrangement or suitable input data. Okay, so this is the function. And actually in the footing design also same, like I believe that you already get used to the software, right? In just a few minutes. So here I can generate my detailed report, right? Summary report. And then in the member list, you can use this Excel format file if you have the forces or sections, whatever. And then drawings, yeah, it's very quick design method. So there's nothing you need to learn. There's nothing you need to learn. You already get used to the software, right? So we can generate our drawings. Okay, even pie cap footing, we can do this. And okay, so if I go to steel member here, so we have base plate and connection design. So here in the base plate, we have actually the Singapore standard section for steel. So here we can choose those steel. So here we can also input the forces. And then we can choose H section, box section, pipe, and angle, channel, those holes, all sections shapes in here, in this input. And the section size, if you want to change your section, then we can check off this use dB, and then we can even input our own sections, right? Okay, and use dB, okay. And then here we have design method, effective area method, and then finite element method. So actually in Eurocode, if we want to follow the Eurocode formula, then we actually need to use effective area method. So this one is like when you do the handy calculation, you need to do this effective area method. So this is what the effective area method is. So if I click this effective area method, then program will do the calculation based on this method. Otherwise, we can also use the finite element method, and then you can do the design. And then in this second section tab, we can actually change the base plate shape, rectangular, circular, or width, height, and thickness of the plate. And then we can also use the pedestal. And anchor bolt, we can also use the anchor bolt size. And then you can even change the number of anchor bolts. And then the stiffener, if you want to use your stiffener in this base plate, rib plate we can use, and then wing plate. So after we click design button, and you can actually see the result here in the right calculation box. Okay, and even we can do the welding check here. So everything you can check in this one page for base plate. So member list, same thing. You can also do member list things. Draw tab. So we can also generate the drawings. So now you can choose steel base plate and then create. So in the drawing tab, what you have to do is just to change this category. That's it, then program will generate the drawings. Okay, so this is the base plate. So there's actually the webinar, there's nothing I need to explain many things. That means actually it's quite simple to use this software. So you can, if you see the software, you will understand how you can use it. So there's no point we need to learn something. So here in the bolt connection, so here we can use the bolt connection design. So we can use fin plate, beam to beam connection, and beam to column connection. So maybe I will change some section size. So beam to beam or beam to column connection, and end plate beam to beam and beam to column connection, and column bearing splice connection. So using fin plate here, we can change the material for supported beam and the supporting beam, and then plate material. And then the section size here, you can also use the database section size as per Singapore standard, or you can also change your section size here. If I check off this use DB button, then we can even change the section size here. And then we can also give the forces, and you can change your bolt material data or your bolt size. And even this bolt arrangement, if you change this bolt arrangement, then actually you can change your bolt distance as well. So I will add more bolts. So you can change in this way, we can change the bolt arrangement here. And then here in the welding check, we can also do the welding for this fin plate. And then we can click check or design button. So we have the result here. So I will not do this. So actually here, if I go to column splice bearing connection, splice connection, so you can also choose your sections. So you can also do the design for bearing splice. So here in the column bearing splice, you can do axial and moment shear forces. And then you can change your bolt or web plate and flange cover plate bolt. So you can change this bolt arrangement, and then you can design or check for this bolt connection. Okay, so actually I didn't explain many things. Maybe I will show you the report for this one. Okay, let's go to the simple mode. If I go to the simple mode, then this is actually we can generate the report, internal report here. So I will choose some sections. So actually in this internal report, we can actually see the same things for design calculation process or information, everything, design information. And then here we can see the design process, step-by-step process using follow the Green Book guide. So it shows the every step-by-step calculation and then value of the vector. And it shows the result here, okay or failed. And this format you can actually save as a PDF file format as well. Okay, so this is all about today's webinar. So actually the basic concept is we don't need to use the like very complicated 3D software or other many steps to do the design for this simple member. So the basic concept of this software is we can actually input our all data in one page, and then we can do the design or check in this one page together. And based on those our input data, we can actually generate our report and then drawings here. We can generate the drawings and quantity here. And if you want, even we can we can use this software with other softwares, other software result data. So that is the concept of this software. So it's very simple and very quick method using this Midas Design Plus. Okay, so this is all about today's webinar. So thank you, and if you have any questions, you can ask me now. Thank you.